Hey, what's happening? This is Jerry with Wealth Dynamics. I want to thank you for joining today. If you don't know me, I have to profusely apologize because you should know me. I own Wealth Dynamics. We help our clients gain the ability to treat money like oxygen. Why? So that you can eradicate poverty in your life and own your potential. Now, today, I want to talk to you about why paying off your debt costs you your financial freedom. Now, before I do this, I want to show you my piece of credibility here. Many of you don't know this about me. I was a Dave Ramsey endorsed local provider for about 3 years. In addition to that, I taught Financial Peace University. In addition to that, I read all the books. In addition to that, I went to church and learned it was a sin to have debt. Okay, now I'm going to tell you why it's costing you your financial freedom. I want to share some stories with you to illustrate my point. The first one is called Big Hat, No Cash Flow. Okay, this is a story about a guy I met with. This was about 4 years ago, and he had a business that was making about $2 million a year. He had real estate, both commercial and land, and he had about $200,000 or so in mutual funds. Now, according to paper, it showed he was an accredited investor. He was a millionaire. His house was paid off. He had no debt, and he was a Dave Ramsey guy all the way. He was pushing the no debt thing hard. When I sat down with him, he had absolutely no cash flow and less than 250 grand in investments. Why? Because he put all of his effort, his time, his creativity, and his money into paying off his house. Okay, so he had this $500,000 house, awesome house, and he paid it off. What's the problem with that? There's no cash flow. Absolutely no cash flow. He had properties, he had land. That land was paid off. He had a building. He was considering paying off that building as well. Now, when you look at his statement, his financial statement, he's got a giant assets column and absolutely no cash flow. This is typical, guys. I call this the Anchorage number because Anchorage, Alaska, where I live, is terrible about this. Everybody owns a house. Everybody owns a fourplex. Everybody I meet with has no cash flow. If it does not cash flow, it is not an asset. What does this have to do with debt? Most of the time, these people are buying these assets with cash or paying them off or paying them down. Take this example. If he's got 250 grand in properties that are paid for, he could actually sell those properties and turn that 250K into $1 million if he would use debt. His cash flow would be higher. He'd be able to deduct the interest off, and he would benefit from debt pay down. Okay, that's on investing. Now I want to jump to baby step 2. Baby step 2 means you pay off your credit card. It means you pay off your house. It means your car, your medical debt, your student loans. Here's the problem with baby step 2. It's infinite. It never stops. You meet anybody that's on baby step 2 this year, they will be still there next year. Why? Because paying off your debt is not the problem. If you have a debt issue, it's because you have an income issue. Think about, why do you use debt? You use debt because you didn't have money. There was not money in the bank or sufficient cash flow in your monthly budget to cover an expense or an emergency. So you charge it on a credit card. And then you're like, shoot, I got to pay my credit card off. And you hustle and you push and you pay the credit card off. And what happens? You pay the credit card off. You still have no money in the bank. So then another issue comes up and you have to go right back to the credit card because you never broke the cycle. All this time, your effort and energy has been focused on the credit card. You weren't increasing your income. You weren't putting money in the bank. And the cycle never stops. Guys, when I did this plan, I was on the baby steps. I was on baby step 2 for I can't tell you how long. It was ridiculous. Okay, we paid off a car. By the way, never pay off a car. It is the worst investment out there. It's the best way to take 10 grand and turn it into 4 grand. Never pay off a vehicle. But that's the problem with baby step 2. So I want to share with you, what should you do with your debt? How should you pay it off? If you have less than 50 grand in the bank, you do not need to be thinking about debt right now. You need to be thinking about getting unbroke. You are financially broke if you have less than 50K saved. Okay, 10 grand isn't good, 20 grand isn't good. Don't justify it because it's better than other people. If you don't have 50K, you're broke. So if you're less than 50K in the bank right now, pay only the minimums. But Jerry, what about the interest? Dude, you don't pay your bills in interest. You pay your bills with money, which you're short on. Otherwise, you wouldn't have had debt. Okay, if we were thinking about this ahead of time, you wouldn't have debt right now because you would have been increasing your income. Pay only the minimums, save everything you have, and your first target is 10 grand. and you're investing in yourself and your ability to generate income in order to get to that 10 grand. When you get to 10 grand, your next target is 25. When you get to 25, your next target is 50. Once you get to 50K, you can consider that you are no longer broke and you are financially solvent to a degree. At this point, you still don't pay off your debt. You keep pushing up your income. You're gonna start getting spikes. Okay, so let's say you're used to making 5 grand, 5 grand, 5 grand. It goes from 5 to 8. Now you have 3. 3 right there. That 3, you'll then take it, if it makes sense, and pay off your smallest debt. Why? Because when you pay off the smallest debt, you gain back the cash flow. Now you can save the cash flow that used to go to that debt and build your savings back up. Then you get another spike. These are based on income, not on savings balances. You get another spike in income, you pay off the next one. Save up the cash flow. Do the next one. Save up the cash flow. That's how you handle debt. Guys, you have to stop thinking about finances emotionally. Debt is an investment. Paying off debt is an investment. So if you're going to pay a 15% interest rate on your credit card, and you're like, well, I could pay it off and save 15%, that's an investment. So if you don't have 50K, you shouldn't be making investments. Not only that, it's not arbitrarily the best idea just because it's a credit card and just because it's 15%. You might look at, hey, I could take this money and I could put this into a deal that makes me 25%. That's smarter than paying off my credit card. Okay, so I want to leave you with that. The reason most of us aren't financially free is because we run this cycle. Get in debt, try and pay it off. Get in debt, try and pay it off. Or we've broken that cycle and we haven't realized that debt can be your friend. Debt is leverage. It's happening to you already. By the way, the US dollar is debt. It's created through debt. There's no such thing as cash is king because there's no such thing as cash. Your dollars are created through fractional reserve banking, borrowing from the Treasury, through the Federal Reserve. They are debt. Go look up that process. Thank you for joining today. I hope that was enlightening. I'm going to go ahead and throw down the link in the comments for you to read an article I wrote on this subject. Like, share, subscribe. Have a terrific day. I will talk to you all next time.